In January, my wife and I took a trip from our home in San Diego to the little mountain village of Julian in eastern San Diego County. We headed east on Interstate 8 until we came to Sunrise Highway. This is the high road that runs along the crest of the Laguna Mountains. On the return trip, we took Highway 79, the low road that runs past Lake Cuyamaca. A storm system was moving through the county, and as we climbed higher into the mountains, the rain gradually turned to snow. When we exited the freeway at Sunrise Highway, the highway patrol was stopping everyone without chains.
Sir, you have chains?
No, I don't.
You have chains?
No, I got four-wheel drive.
Four-wheel drive. Okay. Yeah, stay in four. You have
Yep.
to make sure it's four, and it's starting to freeze over the ice.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, guys. Thanks.
Fortunately, my four-wheel drive 4Runner and off-road tires were enough to get us through. Before long, we found ourselves immersed in a wonderland of towering pines and heavy snow. Snow is a very rare sight in San Diego, so for us it's a real treat driving through the mountains during a snowstorm. A thick veil of falling snow shrouded the forest in mystery. Bright green lichens provided a rare splash of color in this nearly monochromatic forest. Jack Frost was working overtime here, making the trees sag under a heavy burden of snow. The happy sound of children playing filled the air at the Meadows, a popular area for sledding and other winter activities. This wintry mountain environment is a welcome change from my usual desert adventures. At the highest part of the route, we passed through the community of Mount Laguna. The long building on the left is the popular Mount Laguna Lodge. We found beauty everywhere, even in the simplest scenes, a snow-capped boulder or an icy branch. Eventually, the road took us down into the valley east of Lake Cuyamaca. What is a normally wide, grassy meadow now looked like a scene from Fargo. Driving through this tranquil setting was incredibly peaceful and relaxing. At the north end of the valley, we came to the junction of Highway 79. From here, Julian was just a few miles away. Julian was originally a mining town. Some of the buildings date back to the 1870s. These days, it's a popular tourist destination and famous for apple pies. Julian usually only gets an inch or two of snow from a single storm, but this storm was expected to produce up to 7 inches before it was through. By mid-afternoon, the snowfall was increasing and the wind was getting intense. Later that night, it would be gusting up to 50 miles per hour. We spent the night in a small cottage at the Julian Gold Rush Hotel, listening to the wind howling through the trees. The morning dawn brought clear skies and golden sunlight glistening on frosted trees and snowy streets. Icicles hung from every roof, and the streets were crusted with ice. When it was time for us to leave, a local gentleman kindly offered to shovel a path through the snow that blocked our vehicle. It was noon when we left, and the midday sun was starting to melt the snow and ice on the road, but there were still some slippery patches waiting to catch unwary drivers. On the road south of Julian, we saw work crews preparing to recover a road grader that had slipped off the road while plowing snow. All around us, the trees and bushes were coated in shimmering layers of ice and snow. Sunrise Highway was closed and gated, so we took the lower route towards Lake Cuyamaca. Even at this altitude, there was still plenty of snow. From the road, we caught a glimpse of the lake on the left. Currently, the lake isn't very large, but in exceptionally wet years, it can fill almost the entire valley. Along the western shore of the lake, we passed the Lake Cuyamaca restaurant and store in the heart of the lake community. We saw stands of willows south of the lake, along with snowy hills and meadows. Later, we saw a tow truck getting ready to pull out a car that had gone off the road the previous day. Just before we got to the freeway, we passed a highway patrol roadblock. The road we had just come through was closed to entry due to the hazardous conditions. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video trip through the snow.